So good afternoon, eminent panelists, distinguished audience. Thank you for joining us today at this important session organized by Power to SME on government schemes and subsidies for MSME financing. To discuss the challenges, opportunities, and way ahead, we have with us a panel of speakers with session chair who needs no introduction, Dr. H.P. Kumar Saha, who has held a position of chairman and managing director of NSIC and also happens to hold a position of director of external affairs with us at Power to SME. We also have with us Mr. Sudhir Jha, who is the national convener of All India Manufacturers Organization, and Mr. Ravi Kaushal, who is the chief manager at the consultancy cell, State Bank of India. So before I hand over the session to Dr. Kumar Saab, I would like to take you through a brief introduction on the Power to SME, the organization that we have. This organization was founded by Mr. Narayan, R. Narayan, in the year 2012. Mr. Narayan also has held a prominent position of president of FICCI MSME, a body run by the MSME division of the FICCI. And Mr. Narayan came up with an innovative business model, which eliminated the intermediaries in the supply chain of commonly used raw materials from big manufacturers to then MSME manufacturers, and thus providing better pricing benefits to the MSME sector, thereby helping them. Now, this is basically an ecosystem wherein Power to SME, was created for the raw material procurement, purchase financing to the MRO goods. It's a mother brand which undertakes the operation of raw material sourcing. Then we have SME shops, which is B2B portal for maintenance, repair, and operations. Then we have Biz Funds, which is an in-house NBFC, which offers innovative and competitive financial products for raw material purchase financing. And then we have FinanceMe that ensures seamless approval of working capital loans for SME partners. So the unpaneled financial institutions that we have. Now, these are the key product categories that we deal with, apart from many others. And these are the major serving industries that Power to SME is catering to. Then these are the preferred business partner, and it's a one-stop solution for all the requirement Power to SME is for all the manufacturing MSMEs, right from their raw material procurement to purchase financing and MRO requirements powered by our digital capabilities. These are a glimpse about our investors. And these are the milestones and achievements that we have been accoladed with. And this is the social media presence that we have throughout. So I hand over the session chair to take it forward from here, Dr. Kumar Saab. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. In fact, it's indeed a great pleasure. This is a very important session, in fact, and very, very relevant for the MSME sector in the country. In fact, before starting the session and inviting my panelists, my greetings to all of you who have joined this important program. And our panelists are very experts. In fact, I will introduce them at a later stage, but welcome Mr. Sudhir Jha ji and welcome Ravi Kaushal ji from State Bank of India. So I think we have discussed on certain other issue in our earlier webinar also, where both these experts were available with us. So before I invite my expert panelists for discussion on this particular issue, let me give a brief about the context in which we are talking on this issue. In fact, MSMEs, as we know, have been a very important sector of the Indian economy. Almost half of the contribution economically comes from the MSME sector. And same is the case with the employment generation also. And the sector is next only to agriculture in terms of creating employment in the country. Almost 12 crore people have been engaged in this sector. The government has been very active, proactive, in fact, right from beginning, right from the independence. After the industrial policy resolution was passed, that micro, small, medium enterprises, we used to call them earlier as small scale industries and cottage and village industries. So this sector should be given priority. Looking at the widespread, dispersal of population across the country, the government policymakers thought that the small-scale industries and village and cottage industries would be very essential sector for promotion, because this is the sector which would engage a lot of people from around the country, and also use the local raw materials and local resources available. So that probably vision of the policymakers has proved to be very, very important, as we see the size of the MSME sector, the policies which MSME sectors the government has introduced for the promotion and growth of the MSME sector. The sector has become a role model. In fact, the growth of the sector has become very, very prominent, and the whole world acknowledges, in fact, that the Indian MSME sector is a role model. Now, while a lot of policies have been implemented, but the finance and credit plays a very key role in the growth of any sector. And in India, the same, in fact, importance was given to the proper flow of credit to the MSME sector for the promotion and growth for the new enterprises, as well as for the growth of existing enterprises, whether it is for inland operations within the country or for exports. So while the government has been very active, the banks have been given, a kind of a feelers. You cannot give statutory directions to the banks, because banks are also commercial entities. They work on, for the welfare of their depositors, because they are also trustees of their depositors, and they can't dole out anything for the sake of doing any, charity, or I mean, in a way that they have to protect the interests and safeguard the interest of their depositors, and keeping that as a balance. While the government wants that more and more credit flow should happen to the MSME sector, and the government for that purpose classified MSMEs, micro and small enterprises and medium enterprises, as the priority sector, one of the segments of the priority sector. Priority sector, as we all know, is the sectors where the government probably wants that these sectors should get some kind of allocation, fixed allocation from the banking system as far as lending is concerned. So MSMEs also got that priority sector classification. The purpose is basically that they should get adequate credit. And the banks have by and large adhered to that kind of a mandate. The other things that the government has advised the banks is the collateral-free credit up to a certain limit. It was 2 crores earlier. It used to be 1 crore, started with 1 crore, it went up to 2 crore. Now recently, the government has revised that limit and increased it to 5 crores. The idea is that up to 5 crore of credit dispersal by the banks, credit, they should not ask for any collateral security, because the government of India decided that they will stand as a guarantee under the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for small and micro enterprises. The government stands as a guarantee up to a certain limit, 75-80%, that as per the scheme from time to time. But the banks have been advised not to take collateral. Later on, of course, it was amended that in case the partial collateral security is available, in case the borrower can give the guarantee and collateral security, they can give it. So mixed, collateral and guarantee also started. But the problem with this is that once you open up the bank, earlier it used to be that no collateral will be asked, no guarantee will be asked. It has to be under the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust, because government is standing as guarantee. But this was diluted later, and banks were permitted to obtain collateral security in case the borrower is in a position, or a partial collateral security if not for full amount. Now with this modification, the banks are very reluctant, in fact, in giving collateral-free credit. I receive a lot of complaints, in fact, from the loan seekers, the applicants and MSMEs, that banks are not giving collateral-free credit. So I tell them that when we take up with the government says, you bring us the cases. Which are the cases which have been declined? We will take it up. So it is very difficult, in fact, to compile each and every case from the remote areas and branches. But it is true that from the feedback that a lot of banks are not agreeing to, exclusively give the collateral-free credit. That is one issue. The government has given other incentives, because today's issue is about the promotional schemes and incentives. Now, there are other promotional schemes also, like Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. That is a credit-linked subsidy scheme, where the government provides 15 to 35% as capital subsidy for starting a new business enterprise to any new entrepreneur who can apply under the scheme PMEGP, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program. And in case they are selected, they would get the loan as well as the subsidy. Another scheme which is very popular, which the government has, has been talking for a long time, that is Mudra. Mudra mein loan up to 10 lakhs is allowed for the new enterprises. And this scheme also has become very popular. And by and large, the banks are very open and very positive to sanctioning loans. But the average amount of loan which has been reported over the last decade is very less. That is from 60,000 or so. It means very small loans are being sanctioned under the Mudra category, while the total amount and the number of total beneficiaries has been quite large. But certainly it has benefited the lower segment of the micro enterprises. At least they can get some access to credit. Chahe 50,000, 1 lakh hi mile, 2 lakh hi mile. At least they have been getting some credit to start their small ventures, roadside, like shops and small micro level service enterprises and business enterprises. So that is another scheme which is very popular, and the government has been. But I would say that in spite of these promotional schemes, and then there are other schemes like interest subvention for credit, export credit subsidy, which is interest subsidy, export credit interest subsidy, which is granted on export credit by the government. But I would say that the credit needs of the MSME sector is not being met fully. Almost every enterprise that I meet, micro, small, medium, they are short of funds, they are short of credit. And I have not met any enterprise which says that I have got adequate credit from the bank as per my requirement, and I continue to get that credit as and when my business grows. Some people say they have got the sanction, but then the conditions are very difficult. Some people say that it has taken long time in getting the credit. The application process is very lengthy. Yesterday, in fact, I was having a meeting with some industrialists. They said the application process with they said SIDBI, maybe other banks also, is so lengthy that they are asked for so much of information, which is not relevant, which is not required. आपका डीमैट अकाउंट कहाँ पे है और उसमें कहाँ पर नंबर उसका क्या है और इसकी क्या जरूरत है मांगने की. I mean, these are some kind of information कि मुझे डीमैट अकाउंट और ये सब डिटेल्स भी देनी पड़ेंगी, because if you are, I don't know whether right or wrong, the banks are at liberty to ask for any information. You should not have any problem in giving that information because you are a loan seeker. But then banks also have to realize that the unnecessary information, which is very personal and is not relevant to the business enterprise, should not be insisted upon. So these, problems continue. The non-availability of adequate credit, timely availability of credit, which is not there, the high cost of credit from the banking system. All these issues keep flagged, and then there is a huge gap. As we have discussed earlier also, the World Bank study says there is a gap of about 25 lakh crore in the requirement, between the requirement and the availability of actual credit. 25 lakh crore का gap है और ये मैं पिछले 8-6-7 साल से देख रहा हूँ. So these are some of the problems which are being faced by the industry, MSMEs particularly, and banks are struggling, of course, because they, on the one hand, they have to, fulfill the mandate of the government, look at the requirement, look at good business also, because they are also in need of business. They also need good customers. And at the same time, they have to protect the interests of the depositors and the money that they have. Sorry. So with all these things, I would like to close here and stop. and invite my expert panelists. I think I can go first to Mr. Sudhir Jha. Over to you, Sudhir ji, for your inputs.
Thank you, Dr. Sahab. In fact, always you open the session on a note which I say it's an eye opener because it has something to deliberate and everybody to understand about it. So, as rightly you have set the tone of this webinar session, I would like to put my views in a perspective which doesn't just limit to information. It's awareness, sir. Because for information sharing, I think in the digital age, it's not relevant because everything earlier used to be available on the click of a mouse. Now everything is available on the click of fingers. So, as rightly you said, sir, that the topic being very relevant, what are the MSME schemes? What are the subsidies available? What are the gaps and challenges? And what is the real need of understanding on date? So, with this understanding of mine as a panelist speaker in this session, I would like to address the August gathering with just reminding them of one quote of our Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, that India is a youthful country. A country with such a major percentage of youths has the capability to change not only its own, but the fate of the entire world. So, in one hand, we are 1/5 of the population of this world. Coupled with that, 65% of our population is youth. So, India is the biggest consumer market. Now, with all these three things, if we view MSMEs, then MSME accounts for 1/3 of the GDP. Population-wise, in the business, it's 7 crores enterprise units of MSMEs. And if we call 7 crores, these are official figures, sir, because officially the ministers have been stating this figure at different forums. So with this 7 crores is linked not just 7 crores, but 11 to 12 crores of employed people who are into these 7 crores of business enterprises. And with those 11 crores to 12 crores, 12 crores suppose if we consider it. So MSME is not a business carried out by individual. It's a business which is driven by a family because everybody in the MSME business units involve themselves. Why? Because MSMEs do not have the bandwidth to hire too many people. So most of the things MSME entrepreneurs, they do themselves. And on an average, if every family has 5 persons, so that cumulatively accounts for 60 crores of the people of entire population in India connected to the MSME enterprises, directly, indirectly. So now, sir, as you were mentioning, there are several schemes to facilitate the MSMEs. Government has been taking several steps. And earlier in the last decade of the previous century, it was a blurred vision because in 90s, early 90s, India got globalized. But in the beginning, as its century began, our vision became more clearer, our direction became more focused, and the government schemes also started becoming conducive to aid the different kind of small businesses. That is very clear, sir. It is more clear based upon the fact that new and old, if we see, sir, there are almost 32 schemes at present. You have mentioned few of them, sir. CGTMSE, PMEGP, Mudra, all these you have mentioned. At the same time, sir, you have mentioned that there is a gap of 25 lakh crore in the requirement and the disbursement. At the same time, when business requirement is so high, everybody would be assumed to be making profits. Then why banks are not confident about the business units? Suppose they are confident, then what inhibits them from disbursing loans? So all these things put together, sir, why I am talking about several things here, it suggests fundamentally something is wrong. कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. तो क्या गड़बड़ है और क्यों गड़बड़ है और इसको हम ठीक कैसे कर सकते हैं? I think that beyond just understanding that what is the scheme for a particular business enterprise or a business unit and what are the subsidies available, and 99% of our MSME friends go with this outlook. We have to think beyond. We have to look beyond, and we have to understand certain things which goes beyond. Sir, we have to join the dots, become inclusive, and that empowers everyone, that builds trust and confidence, and everything starts flowing very, very smoothly in an interdependent manner. So here I would like to just throw few things before all our MSME friends, industrial fraternity here, that everybody knows all these schemes come from Ministry of MSME. For the MSMEs, there is a Office of Development Commissioner. Now, Development Commissioner is there to protect the interest of the MSMEs. And there is a system put in place. What is it? It works in a vast network of field organizations and institutions across the country, which includes 32 MSMEs, DFOs, field offices, 27 branch MSMEs, DFOs, 4 MSME testing centers, 7 MSME testing stations, 30 autonomous bodies, which are known as technology centers, to provide technological supports to MSMEs and industries in various sectors, such as general engineering, auto parts, leather and footwear, forging and foundry, electronics, electrical measuring instruments, and so on. We name anything that is there. Tool rooms are there. Technology centers. There are 18 tool rooms, and the kind of the work which they are doing, it has suggested that if an industry goes to them, then there is a value-added product, which is cost economic and which is acceptable not just to the Indian domestic market, but also internationally. And recently, Chandrayaan launching of it. In the recent past, so much of advancement into the defense sector by creating the challenge platforms, putting the challenge and problem-solving questions, and then solutions coming from them. It has created so much of value that at such a lower price, we are able to make such a wonderful and beautiful things that we are spearheading in the world. In the small matters, we are disintegrated. That an industry which is a large enterprise, they have all the facilities and human resources, so they can create an ecosystem by themselves by developing such systems which suit the cause for backward and forward integration in the value chain. But can a MSME do that? No, because they don't have the bandwidth. They can't employ people, deploy resources. So what they need to do? They need to go out to the nearest centers set up for this cause by the Ministry of MSME. They provide all kind of handhold support. Value additions, how it can happen? MSMEs need to look beyond. And even the small industrial units, they need to find out the nearest technical or academic research institutions. There are all young ignited minds studying there. And professors grooming them. So they should look for some value additions by some research, innovation, or a small value creation into the kind of the business which they are doing, which suits the cause, which relates to the market consumption, which is there in the schemes of the Ministry of MSME. And for all these things, MSME units need to go to the nearest units. Sir, here in this case, I would like to cite one simple point, that assistance to MSMEs in seeking financial support. That is the primary stipulation. And I believe that is the only point of view which most of the MSMEs look for a ready-made solution. Sir, MSMEs DFOs, which I mentioned, they are members in the state level bankers committee and regularly attends the meeting. SLBC regularly monitors the credit flow to MSME sector by inviting all LDM of nationalized banks. So if the MSMEs go to them, they would be the first person to tell MSMEs, hey, before going with your proposal, just do this a little so that you win their confidence. And not just winning their confidence. Why are they skeptical? Because once they disburse the loan, it goes bad. So you correct the things at your end that you can utilize the money in a proper manner for a positive growth.
Raji, I would like to ask a specific issue from you.
Yes, sir.
what are the gaps and what are the issues which MSMEs have to improve? क्योंकि बैंकों को तो हम बोलते रहते हैं कि they are not giving, they are not interested, but banks are also commercial organization.
Yes,
तो
sir.
यहाँ पे MSMEs की भी कोई प्रॉब्लम्स है क्या, जो उनको एडिक्वेट क्रेडिट क्यों नहीं मिल पाता if they are good customers?
सर मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि MSMEs अपने सिस्टम्स को नहीं डेवलप कर पाती है. MSMEs ने इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे कोई सिस्टम डेवलप नहीं किया है,
जैसे क्या
इसीलिए
करना
कोई
चाहिए?
इकोसिस्टम नहीं बना है.
क्या करना चाहिए उन्हें स्पेसिफिकली?
गवर्नमेंट भी आगे आ रही है.
ट्रस्ट, बैंक का ट्रस्ट.
सर क्लस्टर डेवलपमेंट अप्रोच is a very good model, and champions scheme, it leverages the MSMEs with the lean manufacturing, with the JED propositions, with the digital MSME improvisations, and also the IPR creations, that is innovations. So these champions, why it got formulated कि आप इनको फॉलो करोगे तो आप चैंपियन बन जाओगे. आप अपने इंडस्ट्री के चैंपियन बनोगे तो आपको देख करके 10 और बनना चाहेंगे.
तो क्या
And
करें
that
वो
is
उसके लिए?
how
क्या
process
करें मतलब?
improvement comes in place.
नहीं तो क्या करें MSMEs उसके लिए, चैंपियन बनने के लिए?
Sir,
What should they do?
सबसे पहली
Specifically
बात
some
है,
actions.
सर सबसे पहली बात है कि MSMEs
हाँ.
इन सारे स्कीम्स को डिटेल में, आई बेट सर 99% of the MSME units, they do not understand the fundamentals. I'm sorry, sir. I do not mean offending anyone out here, but I'm also an MSME unit. I'm a part of them. I am a part of the industry organizations. But we need to understand, in every industry, sir, PSUs, you know very well, sir, you have been heading it, that there is ample opportunity. But what needs to be done? The system which MSMEs have been following till date, that is changing on a worldwide basis. Industry 4.0, what does it suggest? To MSME spend a little time understanding that, sir. Sir, we are, as you rightly mentioned, AIMO, All India Manufacturers Organization, we are representing the employers organization in the International Labour Conference every year, where internationally what should be the work environment, what is there in future for 5 years, 10 years, how it is going to impact the employers and the employees, and how we should correct it into our systems at our workplace and also in mechanism that everything remains in tandem. So there, it is very clear that worldwide job is depleting. Every year, sir, everywhere there is so much of retrenchments that new jobs are not getting created. Older jobs are being taken over by the new technological advancements. Then whatever students are studying today, what will they do in future, 5 years from here? Whatever MSME units are doing today, the way they are doing, what will they do 5 years from here? So, sir, the basic thing is that in each of the schemes, there is a genesis, there is a vision, and there is a long-term mission associated with it, which relates to improvisation of all the MSMEs into their basic system improvement. Modi, I say, all MSMEs need to modify themselves.
Good.
Modernize.
No, I think you have raised very good,
internationalize.
very important issues, and I'll get back to you on certain specific queries which have been raised in the questionnaire form. So let me, because Mr. Ravi Kaushalji is waiting for a long time, I think let me invite him now, because he is a practical banker. He started his career as a banker. He has been with State Bank of India for nearly 23 years, I think, if I am not wrong, 22, 23 years. Risen from probationary officer and headed various departments, training and consultancy and conducting entrepreneurship development programs. So when I was worried, in fact, as to MSMEs एक तरफ तो ये तो कहती है कि लोन नहीं मिलता, देयर इज अ गैप, पर उनको क्या करना चाहिए ट्रस्ट बिल्ड करने के लिए बैंकर का? व्हाट आर दे सपोज टू do? And even after doing what is desirable from them, if they don't get the loan, then where do they go? So I think these are the questions. Since Mr. Kaushal is a trainer and a guide, and he has been in the consultancy division, so he is the best person, in fact, to let us know, because he understands both sides. He has dealt with thousands and thousands of MSMEs, and deals with at a senior position in State Bank of India. So over to you, Raviji.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, and good afternoon, everybody. And really, it was quite a enlightening session by Shri Sudhirji. He has really put a very good perspective of the whole India and what MSME should do, by and large, and the ecosystem right now which is prevailing in our country. So, since the time is limited, so let us first let me talk about the thing which I have been interested to speak about. So first of all, regarding my department, I am from consultancy services cell. It is a part of State Bank of India. So long back it was constituted. So the idea was mainly to handhold the MSMEs or the entrepreneurs long back. So in the 70 itself. So our department is manned by engineers. So we are having a both the rules.
रवि जी,
We
आपकी
are
आवाज थोड़ी कम आ रही है, तो अगर आप
okay.
माइक को थोड़ा पास में कर ले।
Okay. So now it is okay.
Yes, better now.
So our department is manned by engineers, and we are interested with both the roles. So we are also doing operational role, in which we are conducting TV studies of various industries, and we are also having a developmental role, in which we are hand holding and imparting training to our credit officers who are placed in our SME branches across India. And we are also hand holding the entrepreneurs. Means entrepreneurs, they are coming to us with their business idea, and we are helping and hand holding them. So if their business idea is workable, if they are proper, then we are letting them, okay, either we can sanction the loan from our bank only, or they can go to elsewhere for another financial institution in which they feel comfortable. So now, first of all, two things I would like to emphasize is, first of all, many schemes are there, MSME schemes. I'll be going in a very sequential manner. But two things, by virtue of my experience in MSME and the credit, I would like to share with you. First of all is anybody, any entrepreneur or businessman, when he's going for any business venture, so he should seek the loan as per his cost of project, not by the scheme. That is the very fundamental thing they should understand that. Like whenever they go to the bank, if they see, okay, now I want a loan of maybe 10,000 or the 10 lakh or 10 crore. So they are saying, okay, which scheme in which I should apply for that. The thing they should do, first of all, they should focus on their business model, and then they should validate the cost of project, but for which they'll be putting money. And according to their cost of project, they should decide now which scheme is suitable for me. Obviously, everybody they are having a different experience, different aptitude, and a different risk-taking ability. So there may be coming for the 10,000 loan, and they may be coming for 10 lakhs or 10 crores loan. So, and second important thing which I like to share is, just now means I'll be sharing about the various schemes which also providing you subsidies also, but never ever consider the subsidy. Means your project should not be dependable wholly on a subsidy. Rather than the subsidy should be treated as a supportive thing, because we have seen in most of the cases that people are coming to us, and the whole viability of the project is means the fulcrum of the project is a subsidy. So such type of product, it is hardly going to succeed. So now gradually I will tell you in a very short manner, there are various schemes right from thousands to the crores. There sequentially I'll be telling about the scheme. The first scheme comes the PM Swanidhi scheme, because somebody just it is meant for a simply just like a pawn shop or a very small shop like Thela or the रेडी वालास. तो उनके लिए जो स्कीम है, that is main for that, it is ranging from 10,000 to 50,000. The banks are giving the loan under PM Swanidhi scheme. तो इसमें the first of all there is no margin involved. The rate of interest is 10%. So whenever somebody is coming, that only two things are required in that. One should have a registration from the municipality of that particular area and the Aadhaar card. So if somebody is having the government or if he comes to the bank, then he'll be giving a 10,000 loan. There is a reward also incorporated in that. Most of the scheme, it is not like that ki they'll be having a subsidy inculcated in that. There are other things also. Just like it is meant for 1 year, the repayment is for 1 year. If somebody repays the loan of 10,000 within a period of 1 year, then he may get a loan of 20,000 for another 1.5, means 1.5 years. And that also, if it is paid, then he can come for another loan of 50,000. So gradually, if his business is increasing, I'm talking about that level. If somebody is having a very lesser education or a less aptitude, maybe he doesn't want to go for a high risk, or he just venture into a business. Let's see what his business is about. So it is meant for those people. So he can go for a 50,000 loan also. So this is the PM Swadnidhi scheme. Now the second thing we can come, if somebody is thinking of much more than that, he can come to the Mudra loan is there. So the Mudra loan, it is ranging from 50,000 to 10 lakhs. There's a three stages are involved. There are three classification of Mudra loan. There is the Shishu and then Kishore and the Tarun. The Shishu means up to 50,000 one can avail the loan. Up to 5 lakh loan, the Kishore is the term, and from 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs is the Tarun. So under this scheme, the good thing is up to 50,000, there is a no margin money involved, because there are many participants. The margin money, I like to say, margin is that part of money. Suppose your cost of project is 100 rupees. So the bank will be giving you 80 rupees loan. The 20 rupees you have to bring from your own money. So this is known as margin. So in most of our normal scheme, the margin is ranging from 25 to 30%. But in most of the schemes, particularly given by the government or on behalf of government by the banks, the margin is very, very less or maybe zero. Means their margin or the money of the promoter is very, very negligible. So in Mudra loan, it is meant for 50,000 to 10 lakhs rupees. Now the next stage is somebody goes more than that. The PMEGP scheme is there. Obviously, this scheme is equipped with the subsidy. The subsidy is also there with it. And and recently the government also increased the cost of project amount on that. Earlier it was 25 lakhs. If somebody is thinking of putting a business venture whose cost of project is manufacturing unit having a cost of project of 50 lakhs, then obviously this is the right choice for it. And the margin money involved is 10 lakhs, sorry, 10%. The 10% means if your cost of project is 50 lakhs, then you can avail the loan of 40 lakhs from the bank, and 10% margin means the contribution you have to bring. In this particular scheme, the subsidy is also there. That is a good part of it. The subsidy amount is ranging from 15% to 35%, depending on the area, because we are having some 28 states. All states are non equally economically or socially developed. So because of that, particularly for JNK and northeastern state, the subsidy amount is higher. It is as high as 35%, and for the remaining states, it is 15%. The rate of interest is also very less in that, and the government is also incorporated another loan, the second loan, top-up loan in this PMEGP, because if somebody put up his business venture, I mean, he repays the loan fully. So as an incentive, as I was earlier telling, means subsidy is not the thing. The government is also giving so many things which is in terms of incentive, and it is in the form of subsidy. So if somebody takes the second loan also, then again he will be getting the 15% subsidy in that. Now, if somebody is thinking more than 50 lakhs, another point I missed. Suppose it is not only for manufacturing sector. If you are thinking of putting your service sector, then also the maximum cost is 20 lakhs. So more than that, if you go, so the Stand Up India scheme is there. The Stand Up India scheme is meant for women entrepreneur and SC/ST entrepreneurs. So the loan amount is ranging from 10 lakhs to 1 crore. So the good part in Stand Up India is that there is no subsidy involved in that. It is for the greenfield projects, and the repayment period is as long as 7 years. That is very good thing. Unlike your PMEGP or your Mudra loan, where it is meant for 3 to 5 years. So it means the loan repayment is more, means your repayment burden is less. So if you are initially struggling, your business is initially struggling to stand up or sustain, so it can give you very good breather. So after Stand Up India, if you think beyond, there is a CGT-MSE scheme. CGT-MSE means Dr. H.P. Kumar was telling regarding the collateral security. So this particular scheme is meant for eliminating the collateral point of view, or the eliminating the collateral from the your business proposition. So in this scheme, earlier the coverage, there is a CGT-MSE trust is there. There you are covering the loan. It is just like the insurance of your loan product. Suppose if you goes to the bank and you avail a loan of maybe say 4 crores. So the CGT-MSE cover, earlier it was 2 crore, now it has been increased to 5 crores. Means up to 5 crores your loan will be covered or insured by this particular trust. Now there is a cost you need to pay. There is a you have to pay the fees for giving as an insurance cover. So this is called the annual premium. Earlier it was as high as 1.5 to 2%. Now this has also been reduced by the government. Now it is 0.75 to 1.25%. So suppose if your cost of project is maybe say 10 crores. So if you are availing a loan maybe of 2 crore or 3 crore, so up to 5 crore it can be covered under CGT-MSE cover. It means you need not to give any collateral security. So that is a very good point of view. So while giving the journey, so these are the various schemes starting from 10,000 to maybe a 10 crores. These are the various schemes available. Out of that, the PMAGP is having a subsidy, and the other schemes are having other incentives, which are certainly going to benefit your business venture. Now, another two things Mr. Sudhir was telling about the MSME department. Yes, MSME department is also doing a very good thing. MSME department, particularly, there are many things which is it is also being providing. It is handholding the MSMEs and various training programs also they are conducting. But particularly for the cluster, because he mentioned the cluster, there is a very good scheme like Common Facility Center for the cluster. If we talk of Delhi, there are many industry associations are there. Industry Association Faridabad, Narayana, Mayapuri. So this particular scheme, it is meant for industry clusters or industry association in which they can form a common facility center. It is just like a lab. Suppose there are maybe 100 or 200 units in that particular cluster, or they are regularly conducting some test, or they are doing some lab report of a particular thing. Then they can constitute a common lab or a facility center where their products can be tested. So in this particular thing, they are offering a grant of 80%. So 80% means, suppose in the common facility center, if the cost of project is 80 crores, means if the cost of project is 10 crores, the 8 crores will be given by this MSME, but the 2 crore equity has to be given. So this 2 crore equity has to be contributed by the entrepreneurs of this particular cluster. So this is a very good scheme. Suppose if somebody wants to constitute their common facilitation center, so that is a scheme, good scheme for that. Apart from that, MSME, they have also made a national hub for SC/ST, particularly for social development. So in this this national SC/ST hub program, what they are doing for these SC/ST entrepreneurs, they are offering a subsidy entrepreneur.
रवि जी आपकी आवाज आनी बंद हो गई है.
Coming from this SC/ST community. So the
now it's
25% amount of this they can be getting.
Is okay now. Please carry on.
हाँ, अभी आ रही है ना?
हाँ अब
Is
आ
it
रही है.
okay?
आ रही. Please carry on.
So these are the basic schemes. Apart from that, this is not the end, because another thing what I like to emphasize is, which Mr. Sudhir was also telling, why do we fail? Why the most of the MSME fail initially during 2 years or 3 years? Like we also, because we have been teaching entrepreneurship to so many, and we are also guiding entrepreneurs. There's a rule of 100 days, means all the entrepreneurs who will be putting up their business venture, for their initial 3 years the toughest time for them. If they can survive during first 3 years, then after 3 years there is a no limit. It means they have gone through all the cycles, they understand what the ecosystem is about, they have understood the hook and crook of the systems, and after that they can sail. But apart from that also, the wisdom lies in understanding the environment in the sense ki right now what are all the other schemes, in which way the environment in, just like Mr. Sudhir was telling about the like Chandrayaan. Recently our country had made a success in putting a Chandrayaan. So the Chandrayaan, it is the success, but an entrepreneur has to think this Chandrayaan has opened up another space industry for many small entrepreneurs, not only in Bangalore or Karnataka, but the other parts of country also, because the whole space and manufacturing of this rocket and all, it is so many equipments like minute nut and bolts to major thing going to the cryogenics. But once this industry will flourish, obviously one should think, okay, now this industry is coming up for the next 10 years, so I should invest in this particular thing rather than investing in some traditional thing, because then it comes in the innovation also, and the government is also giving so many things to the startup. So then they will be categorized as a startup, and further they will be get eligible for getting so many other subsidies and so many incentives. So with that I close my thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Raviji. It was very useful. You are always very exhaustive, in your inputs and details. But I am going to raise the question which Mr. Sudhir Jha mentioned to you. In fact, he mentioned that there is fundamentally something wrong, that there continues to be the gap of 25 lakhs over the last 10, almost a decade or even more. ये fundamentally wrong क्या है इस पूरे सिस्टम में कि मतलब कोई टेम्परेरी कोई 6 महीने साल भर की प्रॉब्लम हो तो हम मान लें कि भाई कोई टेम्परेरी इशू आया था, कोविड आया था, चलिए कोविड के टाइम पे लोगों को क्रेडिट मिलना कम हो गया, उनका बिजनेस खराब हो गया। पर यहाँ तो हम पिछले एक डिकेड से देख रहे हैं कि गैप जो है क्रेडिट का वो बना ही हुआ है। Problems of the MSME sector in not being able to get adequate credit continue. And the banks, on the other hand, when we talk to banks, banks are very positive. Banks to kabhi mana nahi karte. Banks kehte hain, we want good customers. After all, we are also doing business. So what is fundamentally wrong that Sudhir Jaji mentioned? Can you highlight something? Ki fundamental wrong kya hai? And before I come to you, let me also give few inputs to our participants because they are very patiently hearing. I would only suggest कि हमारे पास देखिए स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के ये एडवाइजर हैं रवि कौशल जी. He is a very senior officer. If it is possible, Ravi ji, if you can give your mobile number or contact details so that if there is any particular problem with any new enterprise or या कोई नया entrepreneur है तो he can get in touch with you and get your guidance.
Absolutely.
And in case you can help him in applying to State Bank of India, जैसे मुद्रा लोन ही है या PMAGP है या कोलेटरल फ्री क्रेडिट है, कम से कम आप उसको थोड़ी हेल्प कर सकते हैं. तो एक तो ये मैं कहना चाहूंगा. सेकेंड थिंग आई वुड से कि एमएसएमई सेक्टर ने, एमएसएमई मिनिस्ट्री ने एक चैंपियंस पोर्टल खोला है. सुधीर जी ने उसका मेंशन भी किया. उस चैंपियन पोर्टल का मतलब है कि आप अपनी कोई भी शिकायत, अगर आपको लोन नहीं मिल रहा है, आपको वो कोलेटरल के बगैर लोन नहीं दे रहा है, या आप हैरेस हो रहे हैं, या आप चक्कर लगा रहे हैं बार बार, आपकी सुनवाई नहीं हो रही, तो आप उस चैंपियन पोर्टल पे जाके अपना एक इशू रेज कर सकते हैं. और मिनिस्ट्री ने कहा है कि हम 24 आवर्स के अंदर आपको वी विल गेट बैक टू यू. तो एक तो ये मैं एडवाइस करना चाहूंगा कि जो लोग बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन में है और कोई सुनवाई नहीं हो रही, तो वो चैंपियन में जाके मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एमएसएमई की साइट है, वहां पे भी वो कर सकते हैं. तीसरा, जब हम मिनिस्ट्री से बात करते हैं और ये सारे इशू रेज करते हैं उनके सामने, तो वो कहते हैं आप केसेस लेके आइए. कौन सा केस ऐसा है जो मना किया हो, उसके रीजन क्या है, कोई चिट्ठी दी होगी बैंक ने कि मना किया है या कोई कंडीशन लगाई होंगी, आप हमारे पास लाइए, हम उसको टेकअप करेंगे. तो आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट द पार्टिसिपेंट्स इन केस दे कैन रेफर सच केसेस टू पावर टू एसएमई ऑल्सो. सुधीर झा जी के पास भेज दें, हमारे पास भेज दें पावर टू एसएमई में, या रवि जी के पास भेज दें, तो एटलीस्ट देयर केसेस विल बी हर्ड एट द अप्रोप्रिएट लेवल. सो विद दीज इनपुट्स फॉर द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ द पार्टिसिपेंट्स, आई वुड गो बैक टू रवि जी अगेन आस्किंग द सेम क्वेश्चन कि ये फंडामेंटली क्या रॉन्ग है और इसको कैसे ठीक किया जाए. ब्रीफली रवि जी.
देखिए फंडामेंटल जो है, इट इज नथिंग फंडामेंटल.
आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी. बंद
Am I audible?
हाँ बीच बीच में आ जाती है अभी अब फिर चली गई इंटरप्शन हो
Am I audible now?
हाँ नाउ इट्स ओके
So we have been attending so many seminars in different forums and different industry associations, and we have been seeing in our branches also now what exactly is happening. We have been imparting training to our credit officers also. We have also heard their feedback also now. What are all the problems? So when we totally narrow down the things, the root cause it came to the again I will tell the communication thing. Communication in the sense in most of the cases now if I'll tell now what is the project is an idea in the mind of an entrepreneur. Okay, it is an abstract thing. It is not it has to be brought down into the paper so that it can again go back to the bank of a means into the brain of a banker. So the thing is what he's going to do, how he's going to do, what are the things he require. If he can put it in the proper manner, then I don't think it will be taking only I think 10 minutes for any banker or maybe any other person to get it convinced, okay, this business idea is going to succeed. And
Good.
because of this, I mind you, there is a whole another industry has come up because we have seen very poor. I'm telling you, very helpless rather. We have seen the people from IIT and IIMs searching and wandering here and there, and then they get caught by the consultants. Consultant, as in, I'm not telling the whole consultant. Some 5 or 10% consultant, 80% consultant are good only. Means they're helping them out. They're bridging the gap between the bank and the entrepreneur, because entrepreneur they are expert in their products. They are not conversant about what are the language, in what manner we have to write. Means I should tell about my qualification, whether I should focus on the type of machinery I'm taking, whether I should focus about the prospect of the industry in which I'm going to invest for the next 5 years. Because these things become very crucial for anybody, for a banker as well as any venture capitalist also, or maybe any seed investor. I think we are belonging to the traditional banking in which we are funding 2:1. Now the thing we are also seeing for the last 4 or 5 years now, seed capitalists, venture capitalists have come. So they are also funding. They are funding, I think, within a 10 minutes. You might have seen the various program like Shark Tank and all. So the thing is in a very short span of time, our MSME or say MSME player, because of their less education, because of their aptitude and maybe their awareness, they are not knowing how to translate their business idea in a proper in a format so that it
So
can
that is the fundamental wrong point that you are
yeah,
thinking.
it's a very thing, sir.
These people, MSMEs, they basically do not even understand or know properly. See, if they have a bigger size, they can engage chartered accountants and their consultants. वो उनके पेपर्स डॉक्यूमेंट्स बना देंगे, बैंक की एप्लीकेशन भी भर देंगे. तो वो थोड़ा सा जानते हैं कि बैंक्स तो भाई अल्टीमेटली दे विल सी ये वायबिलिटी, आपके प्रोजेक्ट की वायबिलिटी है कि नहीं है, आप फ्यूचर रीपेमेंट कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे. सिक्योरिटी तो एक इशू होता है, but banks also see your business prospects and viability, your background, your credentials, your track record. All these things are also looked at. So fundamental wrong में Jhaji, if you can add something
Yes, sir.
very briefly, because in the interest of time, I have to go to questions also.
Yeah, dot on point.
I am thankful to Mr. Vivekanandan ji, who has already put in the website for lodging your issues about the Champions portal. Champions portal का उन्होंने website दे दिया है. Mr. Vivekanandan, thank you, Mr. Vivekanandan ji. In fact, people can note down this and lodge their issues if they have anything. Over to you, Sudhir ji, very briefly, please.
Sir, clarity about MSME's business activities. As Ravi ji mentioned, we lack in value propositions. Basically, sir, manufacturing needs to be increased along with allied services instead of just harping upon the trading businesses, because it helps us to integrate all the possible resources and create values or add values in an inclusive manner that helps everyone. And for this, earlier also I have mentioned, we need to be cost efficient in manufacturing.
Cost efficient. Yes.
Cost efficient. So what are the different aspects which can decrease our input cost? And one important thing which I would like to mention here.
Last line, yes.
DTC technique that is designed to cost.
Achha.
Most of the times we just do cost is ascertained, we go backwardly that what would be the design. But if we work into the value propositions from design to cost, we can save up to 30%, sir.
Okay.
And that is
So
how
you mean-
value
You
propositions
mean to
come
say
in.
cost reduction should be given priority in the MSMEs?
Yes.
पर मैं
yes.
आपकी फिर उसी बात को पकड़ रहा हूँ कि what is fundamentally wrong? Fundamentally wrong में रवि जी has explained. आपने कहा कि cost reduction is one thing which should be taken care of because that will improve the viability and that will improve the repayment capacity also. I would say एक fundamental wrong जो मेरी समझ में आता है वो ये है दोनों तरफ से. Loan seekers MSMEs की तरफ से they are not able to understand the requirements of the bank. In fact, they don't know how to file the application, how to prepare their viability assessment report, how to satisfy and create trust in the banker. भाई वो लोन दे रहा है ना आपको, तो आपको trust create करना है कि you will be able to repay this loan. So that is fundamentally wrong, and I think that needs some kind of a training, education, counseling, and that is what probably Ravi Kaushal ji is doing at State Bank of India. So that is one thing. Second thing, on behalf of the bankers, I would say, not everybody. People like Ravi Kaushal ji is there who are willing to, in fact, guide, come to our platform and speak and advise the MSMEs. So what kind of a better banker you need? I mean, thank you, Ravi ji, for your this support to the MSMEs.
One more point I would like to add here.
Let me just complete. Let me
Industry
just
should
complete.
think of-
Sudhir ji, let me just complete.
Oh, sorry.
But before that, there are other bankers, there are others who don't want to change their mindset. So it's a question of mindset also. कि भाई MSME sector is high risk prone area. MSME sector को लोन देने का मतलब है high NPS, which is not the case. You need securities. तो वो mindset वाली जो issue है ना, वो भी एक fundamental problem है, which needs to be corrected by way of proper counseling and training, even to them. Even to those bankers also, because they also need to be trained and informed कि भाई आप MSME को लोन दे रहे हो तो you are basically helping the country, society, MSMEs, employment creation, economic dispersal, all these things. और आपको तो गारंटी गवर्नमेंट दे रही है ना, भाई आपका लोन का डिफॉल्ट तो नहीं होने वाला ना कहीं पे भी. So that kind of training also needs to be given to the banker. झाजी आप लास्ट लाइन कुछ बोलिए, नहीं तो मुझे क्वेश्चंस पे जाना है टाइम के हिसाब से.
Sir, industry should think more on the cluster mode of arrangements because common
Yes.
facility, technology centers, tool rooms that
Right.
comes into place and lot of industries together can create a value chain. We are
Absolutely.
talking about value proposition.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll go back to my colleagues, in fact, for any questions.
Yes, Kumar sir.
Yes.
So I'll start from question one, which was given by Mr. Vivekanandan. That what should we do if the banks are asking for collateral?
Ravi ji, you want to take this
Should I respond? Yeah.
briefly? Yeah.
Yes, it depends. Like I have already told you, up to 5. Should I speak in Hindi or English?
Anyway, it's okay.
Any sir.
पहले आपको ये देखने की जरूरत है कि आपको लोन कितना चाहिए, और जैसा मैंने बताया कि अभी CGTMSE स्कीम को 2 करोड़ से बढ़ा के 5 करोड़ कर दिया गया है, तो आप अपने बैंकर को जाके ये बोल सकते हैं कि अगर आपका लोन 5 करोड़ का है तो आप उसको CGTMSE में कवर कर लीजिए, और अगर वो CGTMSE में कवर हो जाएगा तो आपको कोलेटरल सिक्योरिटी देने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी.
Thank you, Ravi. My next question is Vijay Seesaw. What kind of financing is available for agri enterprises?
देखिए, एग्री एंटरप्राइजेज जो है, हम जो अभी बैठक कर रहे हैं वो एसएमई से रिलेटेड है, दैट इज स्मॉल एंड मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेज. लेकिन एसएमई के साथ साथ एग्री को भी इंपॉर्टेंस देना जरूरी है, बिकॉज एग्री का जो किसी भी देश की इकोनॉमी में पहले एग्री का डेवलपमेंट होता है, उसके बाद एसएमई का, एसएमई के बाद में सर्विसेज का. तो लेकिन एग्री जो है वो हर एक बैंक के अंदर अपना अलग एक सेगमेंट होता है, उसकी अपनी अलग स्कीम्स हैं, और उसके अंदर भी आजकल काफ़ी सारे एग्रीकल्चरल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, एग्रीकल्चर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से रिलेटेड काफ़ी सारी स्कीम्स हैं. तो अगर आप एग्रीकल्चर का, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर पहले होता था, अभी उसका नाम बदल के फार्मर्स एसोसिएशन कर दिया गया है. तो अगर आप लॉग इन करेंगे उस पोर्टल पे, सर्टेनली यू विल बी गेटिंग सो मेनी स्कीम, और आपका प्रोजेक्ट को कौन सा सूट कर रहा है आपको जरूर मिलेगी.
Next.
Thank you. The next question is by Chaitanya. Generally, supply side is discussed, lenders, the roles and responsibilities and the gaps on demand side by the borrowers. That is not discussed.
No, I agree with that. I'll answer this question because that is what I mentioned. The demand side is basically understanding the needs of the customer, needs of the bankers, preparing the loan application properly, giving all that information, creating the trust. रवि जी आप ऐड कर रहे हैं कुछ?
हाँ, देखिए इसमें आपने बात करी डिमांड की, तो डिमांड ने जैसे सर ने आप पहले बताया और मैंने भी इस चीज़ को फोकस किया कि डिमांड इन द सेंस कि जैसे मान लीजिए मैं मार्केट तो चला गया लेकिन मुझे मालूम ही नहीं है कि मुझे खरीदना क्या है, देन द प्रॉब्लम कम्स। सो आप जो है, आप जब आएंगे कि नहीं मेरे को 100 रुपया चाहिए, लेकिन जब बैंकर के पास जाएंगे वो बोलेगा आपको टर्म लोन चाहिए या वर्किंग कैपिटल चाहिए, तो सबसे पहले आपको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि बैंकर के लिए टर्म लोन अलग है और वर्किंग कैपिटल अलग है। तो एंटरप्रेन्योर को भी थोड़ा सा, अगर वो अपना बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं तो एक बेसिक लेवल ऑफ बिजनेस जो है, बेसिक आई शुड से द बेसिक लेवल ऑफ एजुकेशन रिगार्डिंग फाइनेंस, वो होना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तभी आप समझ पाएंगे कि आप बैंक जा रहे हैं, किसी भी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन के पास जा रहे हैं, वो किस लिए जा रहे हैं और मुझे उसे कैसे प्राप्त करना है।
Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, Kumar Saab. So there are 3 comments by Mr. RK. He's
Yes.
saying that I have a question from Mr. Jha. There is also the interest of MSME that is compromised by other departments also. Second point, he's mentioning government e-marketing, that GEM is mistreating MSMEs arrogantly and even not listening and working as per the GFR and rules. Thirdly, he's mentioning many of the time banks deduct the money without informing from the account on which heading no one tell us either bank manager or SME's branch also. These are the
Haji,
3 comments.
You want to
Yeah.
take this question? सारे एक साथ इकट्ठे कर लीजिए आप आंसर के लिए.
Sir, the third one relates to Ravi ji because banking matter. The first two, I would say that case to case it happens, but mostly things are now becoming transparent. If anybody is facing this kind of problem, they can reach out to us, our 2SME or Kumar Saab or me. So we would definitely help. We have been helping people in these matters.
Sorry,
because
give me a
because
chance.
there is no hide and seek and things are quite transparent now.
Okay. What was the third question that Ravi ji, you want to take that?
यस। देखिए 2 चीज़ें हैं। आपने बोला कि आपका अमाउंट डेबिट कर लिया, उसमें से पैसा निकाल लिया विदाउट इन्फॉर्मिंग यू, ये बिल्कुल गलत बात है। इसमें 2 चीज़ें हैं। आप किसी भी, मैं पूरे सारे बैंक्स को इन्वॉल्व करता हूँ, उसमें प्राइवेट बैंक या पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक भी हैं। आप कोई भी फैसिलिटी लेते हैं, जैसे मान लीजिए आपका करंट अकाउंट है या ओवरड्राफ्ट फैसिलिटी है, एक चीज़ है कि आपने को वो दिया गया तो आपने एक टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन उसके साथ में एक शेयर करा होगा, एक अरेंजमेंट लेटर शेयर करा होगा। अगर वो उसके ऊपर लिखा हुआ है कि आपको मिनिमम इतना बैलेंस रखना है या ये क्वार्टरली चार्जेस हम लेंगे, तब कोई भी बैंक जो है वो आपकी परमिशन के बिना वो उसको डेबिट कर लेगा, वहाँ पे आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते। लेकिन अगर नॉर्मल चीज़ है, अगर मान लीजिए आपके करंट अकाउंट में पैसा रखा हुआ है, तो ऑब्वियसली द बैंक इज रॉन्ग और आपको बिना इन्फॉर्म किए वो आपका पैसा नहीं काट सकता। और अगर ऐसी प्रॉब्लम है तो आरबीआई है, आप आरबीआई में भी कंप्लेंट कर सकते हैं।
Any other question?
Yes, by Mr. Arjun Rao. Mr. Arjun Rao, would you, your question is quite lengthy. Could you speak and ask directly? You can turn on the mic.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the brief explanation given. My question is, a layman, a new graduate, come up with an idea and he does not have background support like any properties to give collateral or guarantee to the banker. How can he approach a bank to get a MSME loan? Because the documentation procedure where he can get a complete details what needs to be maintained documentally to start his new business with the financial support of government like MSME. Do you have any particular portal to get all these informations pertaining to, he may not be aware of the accounting procedures, he may not be aware of the taxation procedures, but he has to maintain to get some MSME related loans. So this person has to be maintained properly with all these documents. Otherwise, he cannot able to approach a banker to get a MSME loan in any of the schemes.
Yes.
That's all my question.
No, it's a very good question. I think a lot of people would be interested. Ravi ji, you have any website or information portal where can you inform, please?
First of all, I would like to answer this question. Arjun, na?
Arjun. Mr.
So, So first of all, Arjun, what you need to do, first you have to understand what you want to do, your business idea, or what type of business you want to do. The very basic information, if you want, as Shri
No,
Sudhirji
sir.
has told.
Sorry to interrupt you. He's a well graduated engineer.
Yes.
For example, creating the manufacturing of batteries,
Okay, right. Now
like
you're
that
present.
idea, and
Right.
he knows where to get the materials and how to prepare it, how to
Okay.
market it, how to test it.
Okay.
Everything he knows, but he doesn't have any idea of the basic information, like maintaining all these books in
Absolutely.
which
So,
format.
so
Yes.
that's what I'm telling. Just 5 minutes back, what I told you, everything cannot be done by a promoter. Obviously, when you will be engaged in business, you will be doing the activities, but everything will be documented. Your accounts, you have to hire somebody who will be keeping the records of your. This is known as the books of account. So the basic information of accountancy, you also need to understand what is current asset, what is fixed asset, what is working capital, and what is term loan. These are the four things. And for the other things, obviously, you need to hire a person, an accountant or a consultant, financial consultant, who will be helping you in getting all the approvals and maintaining all these statutory requirement. Because as you drive on the road, also there is a certain rules are there of the road. In the same manner, while do the business, there are certain rules for doing the business in the ecosystem. So you need to understand that.
Let me briefly mention, Arjun Raoji.
Yes, sir.
Your query is basically about getting all the help and information for like preparing the loan proposal and filing the loan proposal, and then completing the compliances also, like
Yes. Yes.
कैसे account, how to maintain the account, what company law matters. Actually क्या है, these regulations are from different ministries. Like Companies Act requires compliances under the Companies Law. Income Tax Act requires compliances under the Income Tax Law. GST requires compliances under the GST law. Banking application has to be filed as per the bank's requirement. So there are different departments with whom that entrepreneur has to deal with. But to put it in short, I would request that in case you can send the person concerned, that's what I mentioned earlier also, because these are so many things which have to be understood. I think no better than Ravi Kaushalji is the person to whom one can get in touch, and he will guide, in fact, not only preparing the loan application, but also complying with all different aspects. But in any case, if you go to ministry website, Ministry of MSME, they give you all the information. And there is a website called SIDBI Small Industries, SIDBI.in. SIDBI.in also provides a lot of information about these new entrepreneurs who want to start their new business enterprise. And in any case, if there is any specific query, you can write to Power to SME also. Mr. Sudhirja also, we will address that. So I think in the interest of time, I would like to put it in short in case there is no other question.
Thank you.
Varun, you have any question?
We just have one more
Yeah,
question
please go
that
ahead.
is already listed by Mr. Jairad. Is there any other collateral-free loan for ESDM industries which are into mainly micro? And since electronic industry is suffering with the
I
capital,
think
the
the
working capital
collateral-free
portfolio.
credit guarantee fund trust, that is applicable for all kinds of industries, including industry, service enterprises, including electronic industries, including spare parts, including irrespective of any cluster, as long as you are registered under Udyam Aadhar as micro, small, or medium enterprise. Micro and small, not medium, I think. Micro and small enterprise. So it is applicable credit guarantee fund trust for small and medium enterprise, micro and small enterprise. Any other question?
No, no, sir.
Raviji, I hope I am correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to add something? Because irrespective of any sector that you are working, guarantee is available. So I think in the interest of time, Varun, if you don't have any other question, let me conclude this program. And as I mentioned earlier, in case any of the participants have any problems, they can write to Power to SME. They can take up any issue with Ravi Kaushalji, Mr. Sudhir Jhaji, and write their issues on the Champions portal of the Ministry of MSME also. So with that, I would like to conclude. It was a wonderful session. Raviji, thank you very much. You are always very magnanimous in giving your issues and coming to this show. Sudhirji, thank you very much for your in-depth knowledge of the MSME sector and the economy as a whole. And thank you all the participants. And let me also thank my colleagues Varun, Shivani, and Priyanka. All of them put together this program. I think a lot of participation. The number is increasing now day by day. So thank you all. Thank you very much. Over to you, Varun.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all the eminent speakers, panelists, and all the participants for engaging with us on this
Thank
session.
you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.